So I was going to write a quick email to Mr. John here, but I figured a video format is more fitting since I'm actually working on my writing studio today. I wanted to take a quick break from taping everything up because it's a pain and a half. But anyways, I wanted to say why I pursued English in a day and age where you're told to pursue STEM. And I also wanted to tell you what it's done for me and what it might be able to do for you. And even if you don't go on to pursue it in a in a secondary education setting, I think there's still a lot of benefits while you're, I don't know how old, 15 or 16, to see the passion behind English in a day and age where it's seen as less and less necessary and more of just kind of maybe a hobby to some or maybe a secondary interest. So Mr. John instilled the passion in English mostly through literature, I would say. There were a few books, Lord of the Flies included, that he just kind of opened up the meanings and the symbolisms in a way that made me really invested in, he taught me how to read, really. There's a book that I actually read the next year called How to Read Literature Like a Professor. And I think Mr. Stewart had almost taught me a lot of that before even reading the book, and it kind of added on to what I had learned my sophomore year in high school with Mr. Stewart. And I actually went through the swine flu pandemic in 2009 is when I had his class. And so you guys are probably going through something a little bit more serious, I would say. So anyways, I went on to get an English degree, private college, so it was, all said and done, $45,000. I joined the National Guard as a medic at first. I wasn't a citizen and I was colorblind, so they didn't let me have the journalism and photography slot that I'd hoped for. But funny enough, it was my English major that helped me eventually get that position. Is I currently serve as a photographer and a journalist in the Oregon National Guard part-time. And I was a combat medic for 3 years out in the desert. We would drill out in the high Idaho desert or sometimes out in eastern Oregon, and I really didn't like it. I enjoyed the medical side, but I was just never much of a science person, and the medicines kind of fall in that. I wasn't going to pursue it as a career. I was pursuing photography, real estate photography at the time. And so photography and writing really fell into my strong suit, and I was pursuing the 4-year degree at Warner Pacific at the time. So anyways, I was drilling out there in eastern Oregon, not really enjoying stuff, and I talked to the commander, and he said, well, if you go to the Mojave Desert with us for deployment pre-mobilization training, then I'll let you go. I was like, that's cool. He's like, I'll let you go pursue photography and writing. I was like, that's awesome. I went out in 2015, went out to the Mojave Desert, 115 degree weather, and sweated through an entire month of tough training. And I got back, and he said, you know what? Never mind. We need you on our books. We're not gonna let you go. And I sent a very strongly worded email that outlined everything he had told me, but then I'm also because you never really want to confront a commander, especially in a way that upsets him, and so learning to write actually helps me get into a career. And it wasn't even like this could be anything. If you're invested in English, this could have been transferring from a mechanic to a architect. Like, let's say it was just a different career change, and you write a really well-formatted email. It convinced him. I thought I was going to get an email back saying, you're now going to be disciplined, but he said, you know what, you really proved a point. You worded that email right, and so we're going to allow you to, do what we don't allow a lot of people, and that's to go pursue your passion in the military. So they released me to be a photographer and a writer for the military full-time. And now I've been to Mongolia, I've been to Romania, basically paid vacations by the National Guard to write and photograph as well the story of National Guard soldiers. But another thing that the English major and Dr. John instilled in me is that we used to have I don't know if you guys still have it, the state required writing exam, and Mr. Stewart suggested that we stick to the easier format of I think an argumentative essay or something. But I wanted to do the creative writing format, and he was like, if you're going to go creative writing, it's really difficult to stick it well. And but he encouraged me to do it. I was confident. I said I could do it, and I wrote this pretty sweet little creative writing story, and I really suck at grammar, so I don't think I scored high on that, but everything else was high marks. I think they score up to a 6, and I got like 6 on voice and 6 on this. And I remember Mr. Stewart coming up to me and just saying like, wow, like you really knocked it out of the park. And that encouragement from Mr. Stewart and the passion, because this was kind of I think one of the end of the year capstone tests or something, and it was a really great year to push me into knowing the English degree was what was right for me. After I graduated from college in 2015, I think the next year they did away with the humanities department, and the college transitioned purely to STEM degrees. And that's not a slight against STEM degrees at all. I mean, nurses, especially in a time like now, is because they did do a lot. They've transitioned to nursing. Nursing is a huge asset to have within the workforce, and it's not my brother's training to be a nurse. It's not a slight on STEM careers. It's just that there's this notion nowadays that if you follow where the money is, and if you can turn the degree into a receipt as a transfer for a job, it's not accurate. And if you're trying to do it for money, if that's the only purpose you're going to do, then everybody should become a doctor. Everybody should become, everybody should become a CEO. There's not going to be anybody working underneath people. But more than that, there's not going to be enough people that are actually really passionate about what they were born and have this instinct that they should do. And so an English major is something that I still don't regret, even though I wouldn't say I've gotten the cash value out of it directly. I was a real estate photographer on the civilian side for 5 years. So one could argue I could have just not gone to college and just went straight into photography, but I just don't think I would be living the same quality of life. I don't think I would see things the same way. And I think every single situation I live in, day in and day out, would be under a different shade if I did not have that English major and the rich depth of literature following me around everywhere I go, in every sort of interaction I have. It just wouldn't be as rich of a life for me, because that's just how I interpret stuff. Other people interpret things differently, and I just really I just like to see deeper meanings within even, smaller events in life. I like to see the deep, rich beauty. It's, in a lot of ways, it's similar to photography. I really like to capture a moment that you can kind of just freeze and see the beauty of it. And I think literature does kind of do that. You can take a moment and freeze it and really pull out the words and make a powerful punch, a powerful statement that really, you can make others see the vision that you're seeing. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say. I can't think of anything else. Let's see. Well, I guess I can only finish it with, I've had another buddy that was an English major down at University of Oregon. And so if money is really something that everybody cares about money. Everybody wants to make a decent paycheck. They want a decent quality of life. He was an English major, and he went into real estate, and he's now making more than a lot of mechanics, more than a lot of architects, more than a lot of people in the STEM career field. And that's with an English degree. That's with this bird's eye view of everything that goes on in this world. You can get an idea of what motivates people and what drives people through an English major. And I've actually just passed my real estate exams on Friday, so I'm following in the footsteps. And I really just want to make it big enough so that I can retire young and spend the rest of my days writing novels in this little writing shed that I'm building. That's my little dream, but I mean, everybody's got one, and I'm really thankful for Mr. John's passion that he instilled in me, and that was carried on by other teachers and professors. And I just want to say that if you are thinking about pursuing the English degree and somebody tells you you're wasting your time, it could be true. I mean, you got to consider it, but if you can have enough stubbornness and enough inner desire and inner knowledge of what you are pursuing in life and what you want out of it, then you can tell them, well, that's what you think, but I'm going to pursue this. And I mean, there's a lot to get out of it. I got a lot more than the $45,000 in debt that the English degree put me in. I got a lot more out of it than I put into it. And that's just kind of a general lesson in life is, I don't know, if you put something into life and you don't try to get what you need or want out of it, then you're probably not going to succeed. But if you're putting something, and even if it's not something that's well, I was a combat medic for 3 years, and what I put into it was what I got out of it. I might not have enjoyed that little segment of my life, but I know how to save somebody's life in an emergency situation now. So even if, I just see a lot of people going down a path where they divert 2 years later and they don't sit there for long enough. So even if you go down the English major path, then it might not work out financially, and it might not work out this way, and it might not work out that way. You're still only going to get out of it what you put into it. So yeah, that's my little message here. And I just want to say thank you to Mr. John for being that first teacher that kind of ignited the passion and ignited that flame there that was passed on by many, and that I hope to pass on to others in the future. I hope you guys have a great day and stay safe.